Mark, you're reading what can only be described as the book of the week, I would think.
This has got to be the most dynamic, action-packed issue of Absolute Batman yet.
Yes, I'm sure that limbs aren't supposed to bend that way. So,
Mm-mm.
but we're going to talk about we took last week off for C3 Comics Curing Cancer. Great, huge success. Congratulations. But we are back this week with Absolute Wonder Woman from last week, and we have Absolute Batman annual number 20. Well, not number 2025, but annual 2025. We'll get to both of them right after this. Before we start, don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, leave us a comment, and hit the notification bell so you're alerted whenever we upload new content. Like I said, we took last week off for a very good reason, but we're back. We have two books to look at this week. We're going to start with Absolute Wonder Woman number 13. Absolute Wonder Woman starts its second year.
Yeah, and a brand new story arc right here. We just got out of the labyrinth, hanging out with Ferdinand, finding out that Amazons are still alive, the discovery of the century for Diana to find out her sisters are still out there, and the big reveal that Paradise Island is still there. And that's where they left us with all kinds of new information for us, the readers, as well as Diana. And on to our next adventure. Where will it start, Paul?
Well, it starts with Wonder Woman, Diana talking to Etta Candy, basically about Themyscira and everything that went on with Circe and Hecate and all of them, and how Apollo said that we didn't even use Themyscira, even though they couldn't say the word Amazon. They didn't use Circe made sure she didn't even use Themyscira because she thought that might be Apollo might catch on of what she's doing if they even use the word Themyscira. So, but Circe was tricky in the way that she trained Diana and she taught Diana. She basically taught her within everything that she taught her. It was kind of like what the concept of Themyscira was, what Themyscira stood for, all of those type of things.
Yeah, so she kind of built it in there. It kind of makes you wonder just what kind of grudge Apollo has on him and what kind of power do the old gods of the Greek gods in this world have, knowing that that Hecate, their little deity, Circe, they were that scared of Apollo that even they wouldn't dare say something that might let him figure out that they're talking about it. I thought that was cool. I'm hoping that we get a War of the Gods in here somewhere.
Yeah, that would be good. We then hear we hear some alerts going on about some things that are happening in different parts of the world. We find out that basically Wonder Woman has basically
a new sound system in the Huron.
It basically is alerted to basically it's her version of the trouble alert.
Yeah, they got the emergency broadcast stuff. They have it hooked up in there where if there's any national emergency warnings going out, that it gets piped into the Huron or the not Hall of Justice, if you've caught the previous issues. So she takes off to Reno, Nevada, where a disturbance and explosion has happened. A casino has been blasted, one that was actually scheduled for demolition. So there's really not many people in there. But while she's there, she feels this dark presence, this entity. She feels it weighing down upon her. She even questions, is this coming out of me? Is it being bared down on me? I can feel rage inside of myself, and I'm tracking it through the rubble, getting down to it. And she sees almost like an electrical being in the distance that lashes out toward her, and she responds instantly by pulling her axe out and swinging and realizing that that's not like me to react with violence before checking on the situation. So she sees how she's already being influenced by this dark presence that surrounds this entity. Ultimately, she has a little skirmish with it, unable to really touch it, harm it, hit it. It moves fast. It's ridiculously strong. It kind of buries her in rubble, and it takes off, leaving her frustrated just to have to go back to the Huron and back to her studies, having missed an opportunity to figure out what it was.
Correct. And so she does more of her studies with Etta Candy, and guess what happens again? The trouble alert goes off. And so she's off now to her second place. And is that one the Delphi, or is the third one the Delphi? I don't remember.
This one is Uruguay, right. And this one is the lighthouse.
Right. And so we have the first one was in Vegas, I believe, right?
Reno.
Right, Reno, right. And so then we have a lighthouse. So actually, if you take a look at different things, so in Las Vegas, you have maybe the
Yeah.
pyramid or whatever, but now you have the lighthouse. There are kind of things that are representative of things that were in ancient times. So this is kind of like the lighthouse of Alexandria, I think it was called. You have the pyramid, whatever. So they're kind of, it's like the seven wonders of the world, the ancient world, kind of are things that are being attacked.
Yeah, and she fights it again at this location to the same results. It moves fast, it gets its licks on her, knocks her back, and dips out. And then she's kind of forced just to go back to where she was. And what they're studying, what they're looking at through all of this is they're looking at what they possibly can uncover about Themyscira. What do us humans know from legend, from lore, from mythology? What can we cross-reference, find to be true? What can we put out there based off what Diana knows from her tales with her upbringing? What can we try to piece together? And while they're doing this, they figure out that some things are not starting to add up, that some of this is starting to look like a coincidence with these locations, like Paul was pointing out. Some of these battles that we were just studying, this battle took place in where Uruguay is now, and this battle took place where this is, and all these places. There's no way this is a coincidence.
Right. And so she's there, and guess what happens? Of course, the Trouble Lord goes up one more time, and this time it's actually grounded right in Greek mythology. It is at the Oracle of Delphi. And so that's where she takes off to. And she was like, kind of in some ways, she was like, oh, I get to see the Oracle of Delphi. I've never seen the Oracle of Delphi.
Because I hope I'm not responsible for destroying it. So let's do this. And one part that happened before she got here, she did go out and kind of like do a little woo-saw stuff and kind of look back on like how to approach things and kind of do a little what did they call it? They were crime boarding. They're going to make a crime board. They're going to kind of look at all these events to try to figure out where the next one could happen. If these previous ones happen at known famous locations, what are the next possible locations? Maybe we can get ahead of it.
All they need is red string, and Mark would be happy.
I would be on it. I got the espresso. Just give me the twine. Right. But they make some comments about how, like, with her using her magic, it's never free of cost. Every bit of it comes at a cost, and the kind of magic that she uses, being a witch, comes at a high cost. And she goes into this last battle with that kind of in the back of her mind, and she goes in fighting. And she realizes with that concept of magic coming at a high cost, this is the cost that our world is having to pay for her saving our world. And this entity is just like a shadow version of herself that's appearing and just wreaking havoc. So we don't know to what degree it exists, to what end it'll last, and what kind of like sentience it might have. We just know that it is a cause effect from her using magic previously, like battling the big Tetracide and stuff like that. And that's why it's just like this evil that has come out of her.
Yeah. And so this is a quick two-part story. So this is part 1 of 2. So we'll get the completion next issue before Hayden Sherman comes back, because there is a fill-in artist on this, in case you were wondering. But it wasn't.
I opened the book and I immediately closed it and looked. I'm like, that's not Sharon. That's not Hayden.
Right. But yeah, another solid story. I loved. I mean, Kelly Thompson is really, she's weaving in the mythology really well, I think.
Yeah, very, very well. And it felt like a fill-in issue. I'm not going to lie to you about that. When I read it, I'm like, okay, this definitely felt like a fill-in issue. But it does add to the lore of this current Wonder Woman. Like, we've been told about the magic costing, and now we're getting to see it. And they're not dragging that little concept out into a big ordeal, but here it is. And we're going to hopefully see how she has to balance that moving forward, because she's not going to stop using magic. That's a key aspect of Absolute Wonder Woman that sets her apart from normal Wonder Woman. So I wonder if she's going to have to like genie this thing into a bottle, and it's part of her like weapons moving forward. If things get bad enough, she can unleash her dark side as a separate entity in a battle or something. Like, who knows?
Yeah, maybe she can do something with the lasso that it has.
Yeah, it has its own lasso. Yeah, that electrical lasso. And Diana already has. What have we seen? Like 2 of them now?
Yeah, but there's at least 3 or 4 anyway, right? That we know about.
Yeah, even in the main universe now.
Right. Well, right. Yeah. Okay. Then the issue of the week for any comics, I would say, is probably the Absolute Batman Annual 2025.
Yeah,
This
definitely.
has 2 stories plus a quick 2-page, what is a bat type of a thing, done by A-list creators. Darryl and Warren Johnson writes and draws the first story, which is the main story. James Herron of Ultra Mega fame draws and writes the second story, which is like a 16-page story. But the first story, if you first of all, if you have not already, go over to this gentleman's uh, YouTube and search on his story. It's basically you're looking for the thumbnail that says "People are gonna be pissed," um, um, because although he doesn't delve into exact, the beat by beat of the story, he does talk about the themes and everything too, and he does a really good job of um, explaining how if you think one way, maybe you're not really reading the story the way it should be read, and those type of things. And it's not anything that hasn't been around for a long time in different comics. Um, so
If you were cheering this book before it released, you missed the point. And
right.
if you felt the same way after you read it as you did before you read it, you're going to have missed the point. And that's selling Daniel Warren Johnson short. He definitely has a message. He gets it across, but he definitely delivers more than just a basic message with this. I'm excited to talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is a deconstruction, basically, of Batman's relationship with his father, for the most part, and with himself. I would say, in some ways too, probably.
Mm-hmm. I think this is
Um,
an issue looking back at where and how and possibly why he draws the boundaries. We haven't fully seen the boundaries that Absolute Batman has. Batman been around for so long. We know he has his no kill rule. We know a lot about regular Batman, and we're learning a lot along the way about Absolute Batman. We already know he's a little more extreme, a little more violent. In his premiere issue, we saw him cut the hand off of a bad guy, go really more rough around the edge, very Frank Miller-ish Batman kind of style, like, this is an operating room and I'm the doctor kind of Batman. But at the same time, I think it's important to keep in mind Batman committed those brutal acts on those people in service of protecting an entire building full of police and government officials. That was who he was
right.
protecting in that moment. So that's something that a lot of people who just picked up their first Absolute Batman issue are kind of missing the forest through the trees with some of this stuff.
And kudos to Dan Warren Johnson. He doesn't have to tell us whether we're now or then. We can figure it out on our own.
Yeah, he's really good at this. He's the A-list creator right here. He knows what he's doing. Yeah, so this story does start with a flashback and a current kind of flip-flop, panel-to-panel kind of shot with you have Thomas Wayne and a young Bruce Wayne. He's looking at a newspaper that says extremist bombing, and Bruce asking why they do that. He says, Bruce, I wish I knew. And he asks him, well, what are you going to do? He's like, I don't know. I'm just one person, but I know what I'm good at, and I know it's teaching. And this goes back to what we learned about his dad earlier when we were getting a little bit of the backstory on Thomas, how he's a teacher in this world, and that's why he was at the zoo where he lost his life and everything. And he asked Bruce, well, what are you going to do, kiddo? And it flashed to this amazing one-page shot of him standing in front of this this building on fire, the big flag back there, and him holding a flamethrower. Just amazing artwork. This is the best art you'll see in a comic this week.
And, right. And one of the things that he says as a teacher, he says one of the reasons why he likes being a teacher is because he says if people don't take away, the one thing I want people to take away from my teaching is that one man can make a difference. And so that goes into Bruce's mind as well. I'm sure when he was thinking, it's like, okay, you know what, can I do this? And so he's thinking to himself, one man can make a difference. Now, whether or not he's doing it that his father would approve of or not, that's part of our what we're going to explore, going through the story. But his father specifically says that to him, is that, one person can make a difference.
Yeah. And so he gets into this. We cut to, like, all right, we did the kid, we did the flash forward. Now we're getting back to a little bit before the fire here. Now this whole story takes place what feels like earlier days Absolute Batman than what he's dealing with now. And we go to Slaughter Swamp at the city limit. I'm assuming just outskirts of Gotham in the Absolute. And you see like a shanty town, half constructed building, tents, trucks, barrels with fire. And you see a priest with a scar on his face around these people huddled around the fire, eating and everything, as he drives past and goes to a pawn shop. And he goes in to go collect some weapons that he ordered or had altered to be less than lethal weapons. The beanbag stuff, the pellets, the gas bombs, all the stuff that Batman would get a hold of to guarantee that he's delivering justice, but people survive, but they know they've been hurt, kind of thing. And while he's getting ready to leave here, he sees a group of people outside getting jumped by a few gang members, all wearing a pig mask. Felt very Professor Pig. And in this moment,
Absolutely.
they are jumping them because they don't speak English. Very on the nose, frying pan to the back of the head. These are the kind of bad guys we're going to be dealing with here. The absolute bottom of the barrel, terrible people that are just, I don't know what year they think it is, but you don't speak English, you got to die. Like that's what we're dealing with here. It's truly a caricature of like some of the worst stuff that happened years gone by. It's definitely a comic book. Like, so that's where I think people might be missing the mark. This isn't very reflective of actual reality. It's an extreme version of the worst version of reality, but it Bruce goes in hard. He comes in swinging fists, some of the most dynamic art you see.
I was gonna say we got our first what I call like hyperkinetic type action.
Yeah, you feel the panel to panel motion, like that hit. That is a still image, but it feels like it's moving. Like Daniel Warren Johnson is just the man for this. And while he's beating them away, the guy that he bought the guns from comes in and wrenches him in the back of the head and knocks him out. And then DJ, the big bad guy who's with this gang of white supremacists here that were jumping these people and getting ready to kill a wife and kids simply because they didn't speak English. He walks up and they start jumping Bruce together. And the priest jumps on top of Bruce saying, "Please stop. I don't know how to make this better. I just know how to try to stop it from getting worse." And they all ride off, and the priest takes Bruce back to his house.
Right. Where he then has a discussion going about how the priest does things, and his philosophy on how he deals with things. So,
yeah, and he was talking about how Bruce looks at a picture while they're talking. He sees this nice photo of the priest that's protesting peacefully, lock arms with people, just standing across from. It reminds me of the old college thing, with the students lock arms. And I think you even see it in the opening scene of Watchmen, where the girl puts the flower in the barrel and stuff. It reminded me of that. And he's talking about how he really doesn't have a way to make things better, but he just fights and does what he can to keep them from getting worse. And he's telling him, like, we got to be peaceful. And they torched your truck, Bruce. I'm sorry. And Bruce tells him it doesn't matter. Sometimes peace isn't an option, though. And that's when we cut back to DJ and the boys getting ready in mass groups with their baseball bats with nails in them and all their hammers and their sticks and this and that. And they're getting ready to descend down on the little shanty town and I guess just kill everybody because they don't speak English.
Yeah, DJ is about to go full Negan on someone.
Yeah, he's got Lucille, and they're getting ready to go, and a police car pulls up, and the police walk up to him and say, "Hey, we can't let you do this." And they all walk up to each other and just start laughing. And then the police officers put on their ski masks as well, because what is a good? We got to have the white supremacists if the police aren't part of them. It's kind of becoming so tropey. It gets ridiculous. And again, this is another point I think is important to take the time. In Batman lore, there are always dirty cops. From Batman 89 with Eckhart, think about the future, to the Christopher Nolan trilogy. Two-Face was made specifically because dirty cops took him and Rachel. The Matt Reeves Batman, the dirty cop gets beat up in Penguin's bar and seen again in the police station. Like, that's part of Gotham. Flask in Batman Begins and in Frank Miller's Year One, Gotham is the most corrupt city there is.
Right. But to your point, and you make this point very clearly in your video, that does not mean that Batman hates cops. That's not his best friend is a cop.
Jim Gordon.
Exactly.
Yeah, and back to even just absolute Batman. Issue 1, he risked life and limb fighting impossible odds, cutting people's hands off to protect a building full of police officers and government officials. Batman is not anti-police. He's just against criminals. Right. If a cop is acting like a criminal and they have broke their sworn oath, they are no longer police and deserve to be handled appropriately. And that's that's what this story gets into. So they go descend down on the people and start beating the tar out of them. And DJ's having fun doing it. Right.
And then we get the panel of the story, I think.
Yeah. So you have DJ walking through the crowd, swinging his bat, saying, I'm power, pure power. And he doesn't even get the whole phrase out. And he gets his little salute.
Nazi salute, and boom.
And Bruce turns his arm back sideways. And look at that face, man. What a 2-page splash. Like this, I'm like, oh, hell yeah. Like that was amazing. And you turn the page and you got this towering giant of a man just storming at you. And this guy goes to run up at him. Based on Daniel Warren Johnson's art alone, every single one of these people are dead. But you got to remember, this guy draws very dynamically, very stylized. So that kick is just meant to show you how hard he kicked him. He's not killing these people. Scott Snyder made a post specifically saying that they're not dead, they're still breathing. Because I don't think they want Batman to have this many dead bodies under him. Right. But
Daniel Warren Johnson without Batman doing a wrestling move.
A couple of them, right? So he picks up one of the police officers and hits him with Kenny Omega's one-winged angel, and obviously kills this guy. He literally put his head into his chest, obviously killed him. But again, Scott Snyder confirmed that these guys aren't dead. It's just the artistic style. Like, I read it, I'm like, oh, these guys are dead. There's no way they're alive. But he goes through, and then the next one, he hits him with another Kenny Omega move there. But not before this guy's dead, right? In both eyes and in between the eyes, and then he drives them home. But the guy hits the ground. He's like, no, he's breathing. Does that guy look like he's breathing? He looks dead. Like, I don't see his lungs going up and down.
And I think his nose is gone for him to breathe.
Yeah, he's like a pug now. He's got no snout. But he walks up to DJ, and this were the last really just violent dynamic move here. And he just his head's laying flat on the ground, and he puts his whole face in, and then he does it numerous times. So again, another character I assumed would be dead if Scott Snyder didn't confirm they're not. Right. And then he's getting ready to hit him again. And that's when the priest, just like he did for Bruce earlier, he dives on top of the scum of the earth, lowest of the low person here. The priest dives on top of him and says, stop. And Batman, the dialogue here is important. It says, what are you doing? He said, this won't fix it. It won't. I don't know how to make it better. I only know how to not make it worse. Please, this isn't the way. And Batman, just enraged, kind of out of control, screams, this is my way. And Batman doesn't stop. The rest of the gang had ran off at this point to a nearby safe house. Batman finds some keys laying around just conveniently and fires up the Batmobile. Because ultimately, this whole story is meant to give us the origin of the Batmobile. It's leftover construction equipment from where the construction stuff had moved out and just left the half-built building and all the employees there. They abandoned it. So he takes it and he drives it straight through the building that they're in, literally running over half of them, killing half of them at least. But again, Scott Snyder says that they're not dead. So artistic leniency, I guess. Another just amazing page. Dump trucks have never looked this cool since Jackie Chan's Mr. Nice Guy. This is amazing. Super cool stuff. So he hops out swinging the axe. Again, the axe, not the hammer. Swinging the axe, just air quotes here, not killing people. And then he pulls out a flamethrower. And as he's doing this, guy says, get back. You can't do this to us. We're human beings. And he says, no, you're roaches. And only one way to deal with those. And then he just shoots them with a flamethrower, and they're diving out of the way. One guy gets his arm melted. And in the process of them all sitting there, the priest walks in with a medical kit and starts tending to him. And Batman asks him why. He says, you have your way and I have mine. And then that's when Batman walks out. Job's done. There's no one else left to fight. He drives off in the dump truck, and then he starts reminiscing back to that night, that conversation with his dad. And that's where we book in the story and we put some context to the events that just happened. So what does it mean now that it's over? And what are you thinking about? And he was talking to his dad as a kid, and he said, you did a lot of cool stuff when you were younger. He said, I don't know about that. And he said, you made a difference. You did something. I'm going to do that too. I'm going to be just like you. I just got to figure out how. And his dad says, that was before my mustache. We barely knew what we were doing back then, but I guess I barely know what I'm doing now. But you, Bruce, I know your nature. I know who you are deep down. You have a strong and compassionate heart. All you have to do is be yourself. No matter what you do, I'll always be proud of you. And in these moments, what him and his dad were looking at when they're talking about you did something was the same photo the priest had. And we found out that the priest knew his dad.
Right.
And while he's thinking about this, he's looking at his blood-soaked hands, his dad's words about doing the right thing being compassionate and strong. And it ends with him in the fetal position crying because he's crossed a line that he didn't want to cross.
Right. Exactly.
Did those people deserve everything they got? Absolutely. Is Batman the one that should have given it to him in that way? Not according to his moral code. They push him past it. So I think this issue, while it was great, it was gratifying for a lot of people. You got to remember this was an important issue for the Absolute Batman story to see what is too far for this character, because he's not a villain. He is Batman. He's not a murderer. Mm-hmm. He does have a code of ethics, and I think this issue is the one that they're going to use as like this is him at his when he pushed his code, like when he broke his code a little too far.
Right. I'm going to make a prediction right now. This story is going to be nominated for an Eisner.
It deserves an Eisner.
Mm-hmm.
That's a layup.
Yeah. And it's funny because, as he's describing and he's saying, like your compassion and everything, he's kind of describing the priest as opposed to Bruce at that point.
Mm-hmm. It says all you have to do is be yourself, and he looks down and sees the blood on his hands, and then it just breaks down crying.
Right.
But it's weird. Not anyone that's watching this, I challenge you to go out and find other people's reviews and stuff on this, or where they're talking about it. Because me and Paul were talking about it before we went live. People keep omitting these last 3 pages when they're talking about this book. They're not talking about the last 3 pages and how it bookends to the front and what it means for the story. They're just like, oh, he crushed these white supremacists. Yeah, he did. White supremacists are bad guys. That's not a hot take. You're not being edgy. You're taking risk making white supremacists are bad guys. Creature Commandos did it. Peacemaker did it. This did it. Hell, there's a JSA ad right there. They do it every single issue, every single month. It's like the safest bad guy. If you're doing social commentary, it's the safest social commentary in the world. But Daniel Warren Johnson just delivered one of the most heartfelt stories, while you're just getting like the satisfaction feeling of watching these total POSs just get drugged like by this force of nature Batman. It was wild. And it almost made me feel a little sense of guilt when I'm reading it like, oh, hell yeah. To the eyes. Yes. Then I get to them like, damn. I'm cheering on like just gratuitous violence. That's inhumane. Like it's maybe it's a little bit in all of us, and we need to check ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. Second story called Sanctuary. James Harren, again, the man responsible for Ultra Mega. We basically see it starts off with this. Well, I'll let you. I don't know how to explain the guy. The guy's in a mask, obviously. So
yeah, this is Black Mask Gang early on before they had a lot of high tech.
Right.
So before they got upgraded, they're wearing this basic Black Mask stuff, and they're meandering through the city. It looks a little ran down. They're going into an old busted house. It's an old busted church that's no longer operational. And one of them is familiar with it because it was their dad's church, and he doesn't think they're there anymore. And they're going around just ransacking it for whatever they can get a hold of. They're kind of vandalizing it in the process, pouring oil and stuff all on the stove and turning it on. It clearly looks like they plan on burning it down as they leave. And while they're ransacking through it, his dad opens one of the doors. He's like, "What are you doing here, Victor?" And he's like, "Oh, man, I thought you were gone. I thought you and mom were long gone." He's like, "No, your stepmom's no longer with us. She's been gone. But take whatever you want. Just get out of here, man." He's not wanting to deal with it. And his son has an emotional response to his dad and wants to argue and fight with him. Meanwhile, they're worried that they're being followed by the Bat, so they send somebody to the roof to keep a lookout. And by the time we even check in on him, he's already knocked out on the roof, and Batman reigns supreme like freaking Spawn, just hanging out up there. It's freaking awesome. Like in this story, Batman is a horrific force of nature, very horror vibe. But they hear the noise on the roof. They send some guys to go check it out. Meanwhile, they knock the dad out, and they're not being very kind to him. And they're afraid to go check it out. There's only one way to the roof. It's down a dark, scary hallway. You don't want to go. And one of the Black Mask guys pulls out some powder, takes a sniff off of it, and he's getting all amped up. They're pulling out guns and grenades out of the dad's stash, and they're now a little bit more confident to go brave the dark and go see if they can find Batman. Bad idea.
Yeah, because once they start to get up, before they even get to the top of the stairway, of the stairwell, Batman uses his cape, which, if you remember, you got to think, yeah, exactly. He uses that as kind of a whip almost, and he pulls one of them up, and doesn't go well for them.
No, he starts yoking him around into dark places in the corners, throwing him around, and then he emerges like a Keith David fever dream. Like, look at that. Look at that. Yeah, that's awesome. He comes out and the dude that was sniffing stuff is all jacked up on Mountain Dew now, screaming, "Come and get me. You burnt me, you SOB." I don't know if this is the previous. I mean, this is early days, so it wouldn't be a previous character. It's clearly someone who had a run in with him before, and now he's jacked up on his little powdery stuff, and he's ready to fight Batman. He's a big brute of him, shooting his guns, swinging his fists. Him and Batman have a good fight. They go at it for a while. This dude's tripping out. You kind of see things through his eyes. He's literally tripping while he's fighting Batman, and you get a really good fight with him. Ultimately, the big guy pulls some grenade pins, blows up the house, killing himself in the process. And when the dust settles, you see the dad that they're knocking out, beating up. He had jumped on his son in the explosion to kind of protect him. And, is another father-son moment, which is the theme of this issue. You see where he's bleeding and all hurt, but he managed to save his son from the explosion, and they're hugging each other at the end while Batman flies off. Look like they're the only survivors or the only ones left.
Yeah. They basically, it's funny because the second to last panel has the two of them, has the father and the son, kind of almost mirroring the image
Mary.
it's the Pieta, I think is what they call it. No, not the Pieta. It's Mary and the baby Jesus, but it almost is like a altar
mirror.
Exactly, mirror image. Yeah.
And they're in a church / house.
Yeah, exactly.
So we had two stories that. So again, for all the people excluding the conversation of the Thomas Wayne element to that first story, the second story is also a father-son story, but of villains and a priest. So you have a pastor and a gang member, and then you have Thomas and the priest and Batman in the first one. It's you see the structure.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all see the structure?
Yeah. So if you have not picked up Absolute Batman, I'm sure there's still lots of copies out there, but please do yourself a favor.
There's not.
There's not.
No, talk to your LCS and try to get the second print. I guarantee it's coming. Or check out Felix Comics Art. Daniel Warren Johnson will have an exclusive cover coming. It's the controversial image that he shared of Batman choking out real life police officers, which is absolutely crazy thing to do. They've retooled that. There's a couple variations of it, but he's choking out one of the white supremacists on the cover now, and they're doing an exclusive coming up. So that might be the earliest one you can get, because I don't know how quick it'll be for the second print. Guaranteed this goes to at least 3 or 4 printings. This is getting so many printings. They're still doing subsequent printings of issue 1. We're on the 10th print right now.
Yeah, exactly.
This book is the biggest book of the year. The volume 1 of the collected volumes at the New York Times bestsellers, like it's not slowing down.
Mm-hmm.
No reason to. More people just jumped on it with this issue.
Yeah, exactly. Again, can't recommend that enough. I would be shocked if the first story is not an Eisner nominee come next year. But yeah, do yourself a favor. Pick up both Absolute Wonder Woman and Absolute Batman.
And Green Lantern. And Superman.
Exactly. And Flash. Yeah.
I'm going to end it there.
Yeah,
I will not recommend more.
It's coming back in 2 months.
Great.
Yeah. But we have Absolute Green Lantern coming up very soon as well. So we'll take a look at that, especially given what happened, in the Absolute Arc M. The Absolute Evil. We have an Absolute Arc M special coming up in January, I believe. So be on the lookout for that as well.
And the DCKO event is happening right now, in the Absolute Trinity were already half shown / teased in issue 1. So the Absolute characters will be making their way into the DCKO event. Only issue 1 is out. Go pick that up. Join in the epic battle.
And they are on the cover of the second print.
Yes, they are. Dan Moore. I shared that out. I sure did. Yeah.
Yep. So be on the lookout for that as well. But that's going to be it for this edition of DC Comics Deep Dive. Don't forget to subscribe, like, leave us a comment, and hit the notification bell to be alerted whenever we upload new content. As always, I am Paul. He is Mark.
We are Legion.
And you're now leaving Sector 2815.